Hello, all petines. How are you all? I hope you all are fine, good, and safe at your home. Welcome for today's science class in class 8th, and we are going to study about a new chapter that is coal and petroleum. This is chapter number 5, and we are going to cover in this chapter all about coal and petrol, their properties, their uses, their extraction, how they all are forming. All this we are going to study about in this chapter. Okay, let's take it one by one. Let me introduce you the chapter first and then we will proceed. In this chapter, we are going to study about coal and petroleum. So, petrol is the basic requirement that we are getting it from, that was showing on the camera that you can see over here. Petroleum is basically required for fuel purpose, and for a daily luxurious life, petrol is very much required. Of course, coal is also used. So let's talk about all this in detail, right? Let me tell you the list of the topics we are going to cover. There is coal and petroleum. Second is type of natural resources. And third will fossil fuels. And distillation, destructive distillation, of course. We are going to study energy and environment. That is all it is related, all about this. In this topic, we are going to study. So what is energy? Energy is ability to do work. This is the definition we are studying from last 6th class. So energy is the ability to do work. Energy has the capability to understand. So what kind of work we have to do? Like whatever work we are doing, it's all depend upon the source what we are taking. Like source what we are taking. If you are taking a heavy diet, then we can able to do large work. If we are taking only ruffles and snacks, then we are going to do work in a very little amount only, because we don't have energy, I can say, over there. So energy, again I'll say, ability to do work. Whatever energy you are having, you have the ability to do work, right? So a basic source to work for everything is sunlight. So again, sunlight is the energy source. It gives us power, and this power is given by the basic source, that is sun. And sun was the ultimate source of energy, from where what energy we are getting. So I'll write up on this. Energy occurs in different form, and all form of energy are stored in different ways. The energy source that we use every day, like we are just using the electric energy, we are using mechanical energy. Like energy can be transferred from one form to another, but it cannot be destroyed. Like if we are using the coal as a fuel, it was burning in the vehicles, steam is coming out, and the mechanical work will go on, car will move on. Or if you are starting making the electricity will move on. So energy is transferring from one form to another, like source is changing. Understand? Till here it was clear? Okay, let's talk about the next topic. And this only energy source, we have get it. Like what we have done, energy we have done, energy sources we have done. Bulb, I told you that's a basic requirement, basic source of energy. And sun was the ultimate source of energy, I told you. Without sun, the source of energy cannot be formed, like cannot be initiated. Okay, so we are going to study all about the different source of energy. Anything which provide us energy is called a source of energy. So how many we are counting it? What are the sources? Biomass, hydropower, geothermal. Now you can see all about this is biomass. Plants or animals, whatever we are getting the energy from them, that is called biomass. And then we are called hydropower, where the water was flowing, where the electricity we are producing, that is called hydro. If you are saying geothermal sources, like the source that we are getting from energy that we are getting and utilizing it for many purposes. Okay. So there are different sources of energy, I can say, that is biomass, hydropower, geothermal. So all about this. Okay. Proper dams you can see in this picture, and turbines you can see over there. So all these are a very good source of energy. So we can they can be used as a geothermal energy also for many purposes. It can be used. Many hotspots are also over there in India, which are producing the thermal powers, right? So many energy elements are produced over there still in India, which they break with themselves. Then they degrading themselves, and lot of energy is coming out from it. So geothermal energy we are getting from the earth by having some points over there. From itself they are providing the energies, itself providing the gases from it, and it will automatically converted into a different type of energy. And from these hot spots, black holes, we can say that energy was coming out in a large manner. Even water was boiling, right? In Hindi we are saying that hot water chashma is over there. So what is all happening about, like all the gases are coming out, hot water is coming out, it is all geothermal energy, right? Okay, let's take it one more energy. So I'll talk about more type of. So more different sources are wind energy, source energy, petrol. So for wind energy, where many farms are over there where these windmills are there. What are they? Windmills. And these windmills will give out or extract out lot of energy. Okay. We are going to study how windmills energies are helpful for extracting the electricity. We are also having solar energy, this wind energy we are getting from windmill. So let's take a solar energy. When the sun rises, sun sets, all the energy we are getting from the sun, because it was the ultimate source of energy, I told you. So likewise we are having petrol also. So vehicles need petrol. So all vehicles need petrol. So definitely petrol is again become a very good source of energy. Okay, so vehicles can be moved on with the help of petrol only. Diesel also over there. Let's talk about more on coal and nuclear energy. So coal is also a very good source of energy. So a lot of energy is coming out from the coal also. We can say, so only engines were can be worked on with the help of coal energy. So nuclear energy is also there. So you can see this in the figure that nuclear energy from many gases and many sources it is coming out, right? So different forms are coming out, and they are helpful for making many type of energy levels also. Let's talk about coal and petroleum. Basically you should know that what do you mean by sources of energy, right? So whatever thing we are having that provide energy, so anything that provides us energy in any form, that is called source of energy. Okay, anything that provide us energy in any form is called as source of energy. Okay, these sources, natural resources also, yes, and man-made also, it can be possible. So man-made also and artificial can be possible, or natural can be possible. Natural resources are those resources that give us the energy that is present in the environment, right? Basically, which are present in the environment, like coal, petroleum, they are present, right, in the nature, but they provide us energy and we are getting it from the fossil fuel also. So man-made resources are the artificially we are preparing, right? That is called, that is found in our nature, that is formed by the man only. Okay, I'll talk you about more about renewable resources and non-renewable resources. What are renewable resources? That can be used again and again, and non-renewable resources that cannot be used again and again. Like the sources which can use again cannot be finished, they can be used again and again, that's called renewable source of energy. And non-renewable sources are those which cannot be used again and again, such as coal, petrol, diesel and all. Once they are finished, they are finished, right? But sunlight, water, air, these all are renewable sources. We can get it from many large quantity again and again. So next, I like to study all about is, you can take a look for the examples also that was written. Solar energy and water, air, all are renewable resources, and fossil fuels all are non-renewable resources. You can write down this differentiate also. Now let me go with the differentiate between inexhaustible and exhaustible resources. This kind of differentiate also can be asked. Of course, a very good differentiate was found between renewable and non-renewable resources. In another form, inexhaustible and exhaustible resources can be asked. So inexhaustible resources are those resources which is never going to finish. They can be reused again. That is water, air, sunlight. All these are in unlimited quantity, so we can use them further. And non-renewable resources are exhaustible. One day they will exhaust, one day they will be exhaust or finished, such as coal, petrol, diesel, petroleum, coal. All these are the products. So all in one word I can say fossil fuels. Okay, so they are exhaustible. One day they are going to be finished. Okay, next I'll let you take you the topic further. Okay, I'll ask you one question. Think it, pause it, and then tell me. Let us find out some few renewable and non-renewable resources. Think it, take a pause, give me the answer. Okay, so let me take sun, petrol, coal, waterfall, CNG gas cylinders, LPG gas cylinder. Think and write it down and then confirm your answers in further video. Okay. So think it fast. All about sun. Sun is renewable. Petrol is, yes, non-renewable. Very good. Your answer is correct. Coal is again non-renewable. And if you are talking about LPG, yes, what was the answer? Again, it is non-renewable. And CNG gas that you're filling it in your vehicles, again non-renewable. Next, waterfall, yes, it is renewable. Yes, very good, you have answered very correctly. So let me now tell you all about fossil fuels. What are fossil fuels? It is found when dead plants and animals got buried under earth over millions of years ago, and due to high pressure and temperature, they get transferred into fossil fuels. See, once they are formed, they're not going to form again. Once they are formed from millions and millions years ago, and once they were utilized, you cannot form them again. So from many forests are there still in the Madhya Pradesh, Uttar Pradesh, Jharkhand. Many forests are there still, they are untouched, and fossil fuels are present inside them. That means the oil factories, all mines, I can say mines are there from where the coal is digged off. So still the many mines are there from where the coal can be extracted, right? So they are formed with a high temperature and pressure. Don't forget this. Of course, it is formed from the dead decay of plants and animals that was buried inside the earth. But under high temperature and pressure, the fossil fuels are formed. So let me tell you one more thing. See, fossil fuels I'll taught you. So I have taught you fossil fuels, and what are fossil fuels? Fossil fuels are non-renewable resources. They are in the limited quantity only. So I advise you, or I recommend you, not to waste it. So don't waste non-renewable resources. So they take much time to get renewed once again. So for future generation, we have to save the petrol. We have to save the coal also. So how they come to know that? Only in the pictures that coal is there, and one day this will happen if we are keep on using and keep on wasting the petrol and diesel like this. One day they come to know that okay, petrol was there once a while. Same that we are saying coal was there once a while that we are using for our purposes. We don't have a coal to see them up. One day will come that our future generation will say, okay, petrol was there, diesel was there, we didn't see that. Why? Because we are wasting them. We are wasting them irrelevantly. So kindly save the fuel, save the fossil fuels which are very precious. They are not going to farm again because forests are no more now, which are untouched forests that was taken from the last many years ago was no more left. So save them. Okay. So let's see about three types of fossil fuels. We are getting it from coal, natural gas and petroleum. You can see in the picture. Let me talk about coal first. What is coal? Coal is a sedimentary rock that burns. It mainly contains carbon, hydrogen and oxygen. It also has some quantity of nitrogen and sulfur also. It was black in color and of course a very hard material. So when we burn it, the residue will be left after burning the coal. It is the blackish and hardest substance, coal. So I think you got about an idea after seeing this picture and after seeing this content what is coal. Okay. So as I have discussed you, coal is a fossil fuel and it is having a different types also. So there are few type of coals are present, that is peat, lignite, bituminous and anthracite. It is not there in the topic, but first for your general knowledge you must note it down that there are different type of coals. That is peat, you can see it's a very jet black. Lignite, it was somewhat brownish in color. Bituminous, it is again a stone type of different shapes, and anthracite also. In these form, coal is present in our surrounding. So peat is the most igneous coal which give us which is used for fireworks, right? Let me tell you one more important point about these different type of coal. So what is the carbon percentage in them? So 60% carbon was present in peat, 70% carbon is present in lignite, 80% carbon is present in bituminous, and in anthracite 90% carbon is present. You can note it down also and you can take the screenshot also. So this is for your GK, that how much carbon is present. As much as carbon is present, as much unburned substance will be left. So let's talk about the destructive distillation now. So let me tell you about the definition first. It is the process when any substance is heated in absence of air. Yes, in absence of air, that is anaerobic processes are taking place. So when a substance was heated, it can be heated in a furnace. So without the absence of air, when something was burned, someone heated, that process is known as destructive distillation. The apparatus which is used for destructive distillation is somewhat like given in the figure. It's a glass tube over there. They are connected by means of these pipes. There is a tripod stand which can hold these tubes. There is a burner. You can see a tripod stand. A destructive distillation process can be take place. so they can be stand. This is a burner, you can see, and it can actually bear the temperature, so it is not going to break it up. So it can bear the high temperature also. So somewhat Borosil and Pyrex containers we are going to take, that will never be break under the direct heat. Now the gas is coming inside it when we are boiling the coal. So you can see the coal gas is coming over it. So this apparatus is used for destructive distillation process. You can see this. It dissolves the ammonia to form ammonical liquor. Let us study all about this apparatus in detail. When you are heating a coal, some products are getting out. What are the products we are getting it? When we are heating here and a coal, powder coal, here is left after destructive distillation is coke. From here you can see all over there that coke is coming out. Okay, so in the bottom, which is collected over here, there's a thick substance that's called coal tar. Here the water is also there, that's called ammonia. That's all called ammonical liquor. These are the terms that you have to remember. So coal tar is over here in the bottom. So ammonium liquor is over there, a water-like substance. That's called ammonical liquor. You have to learn the spelling also. So the gas is also coming out of there. That is called coal gas. These are the products which are getting after heating them. Let's see their uses one by one. First we are having coke. Where is the coke has been used? It is used as a reducing agent in metallurgy. Metallurgy is a process. As such, we are not getting from the earth crust. They are formed in the ore forms, right? In the ores, metals are extracted. That is called metallurgy, right? So some processes are over there. The reducing agents are being used to extract it up from ore. So it is the process that it can reduce some oxygen. Like we are having the zinc oxide. If I'm adding the coke in it, the powder form of coke, then what will form? It form Zn plus Cu. So when I'm adding this C, that is coke, then zinc was separated and Cu is separated. So C is a reducing agent. The coke is used as a reducing agent. You can see in the process. Now it is clear. Let's just check about ammonical liquor. It's look like this. In a ammonium sulfate was in a powder form, but it was used in a powder form basically. So this is ammonium sulfate. This ammonium liquor, when it was diluted with the sulfuric acid H2SO4 and ammonium sulfate, I am treating it with, then a very good fertilizer was formed, right? So this is ammonium liquor you are having, and your NH4OH, right? So what will happen? It was treated with H2SO4. What will form? It will form NH4 whole twice SO4. That is called as ammonium sulfate. That you have to remember this formula also. It's a very good fertilizer. You know fertilizer that we are putting on the soil to enrich this soil. And next I'm going to study all about coal tar. It's a dark thick liquid. You can see in the figure. Coal tar is basically not used, but now we are come to know that it is used for surfacing roads, and again it is having the aromatic compounds. So it's very unpleasant smell that we cannot bear it. Okay, next was coal gas. As you can see in the figure, it is a mixture of hydrogen, methane and carbon monoxide, that is CO, and methane I can say CH4, and hydrogen H. So all these gases which are burned together, that give a very good fuel, that is also formed as cooking gas. Okay. Next I'll take about natural gases. Okay. Is again one of the fossil fuel. So it is the again a non-renewable resource, remember it. So natural gas is a mixture of alkanes. Alkanes, many type of alkanes are there. Okay. So it is 80% methane. It is involving methane. You remember CH4, 7% ethane, C2H6, and the 6% propane, that is C3H8, and 4% butane, that is C4H10. Okay. So natural gases has 80% methane, 7% ethane, 6% propane, and 4% butane. Okay, remember this? Now you come to know that major constituent is methane. So natural gas is having basically methane. Some less quantities of ethane, propane, and butane is also present inside it. So where we get the natural gas? We are get in deep in the earth crust where the petroleum deposits are there, right? So you can see in the figure that one of the, it is a cylinder where CNG gas cylinders are there, where it was refilled, and CNG cylinder means compressed natural gas. Okay, compressed natural gas. Okay, it is mostly used in the liquefied petroleum gas, okay, and compressed natural gas, LPG. It is liquefied petroleum gas. Okay, you can see these cylinders you are using at the home, that is liquefied petroleum gas. Another form is called CNG form, that's full form is compressed natural gas. Okay, under high pressure it was filled up. It's efficient fuel also. Now let's talk about the LPG cylinder. That is again under pressure. It is made up of propane and butane, and it is a domestic and industrial fuel. So basic main component it is having, that is butane. But along with that, propane is also present inside it. So butane is the main component, yeah, in the LPG cylinders, and it is used for domestic purposes. Let's talk about CNG. CNG is a compressed natural gas. It's, yeah, it is having again a main constituent, it is as methane, and it is used as a fuel in vehicles and in industries, as you can see in the figure it is given. It's a very efficient fuel. So there are certain characteristics, so they make the fuel very efficient, like it was burnt completely, that smoke is not coming out. So every easy to handle process is there, no harmful gases are coming out of it, so that's why I can say it is an efficient fuel. Now CNG gas cylinders, very good efficient fuel. So all these features which are required it contains. Now that third type is called is petroleum. Okay, so we have studied that what fossil fuels we have studied, but one more fossil fuel we are going to study, that is petroleum also. So that was coal, and of course we have done coal and its product. Now let us talk about the petroleum also. First of all, petroleum is formed where? How? This is the question. Petroleum is formed from organism living in sea. Okay, yes, they are living in the sea. The petroleum is clear that what we are getting from sea. Okay, seabeds. Yes, we can say in seabeds. So many Bombay high field refineries are still there in the Bombay. So they are taking out the petroleum from the seabed. Okay, so how what actually happened? The organism bodies are settled down in the bottom of the sea. Right, this is the sea. See, this is the seabed. So suppose you're having these uh, aquatic animals which are living in the sea. Whenever they are dead, they settle down at the bottom. Okay, they settle down over there in the bottom, and with the time they covered with a layer of sands and clay. And now sea, sand and clay is everywhere possible in the sea, of course. So it is fully covered with it. So after these layers, they will form. That's a very dark, liquid, and very unpleasant odor was found, but it takes a millions of years ago. So after embedded with the long years of ago, with a high temperature and high pressure, they got transferred into petroleum and natural gas. Okay, so I think you got it. In the sea bottom, they were settled down. The layer of clay was formed. You can see over there. And many years ago, if it will take place, then if they are embedded for many years, of course, with high temperature and pressure, then the petroleum will be formed and natural gas will be formed. You can see in the figure. This is sea. These are the rocks, impermeable rocks. Here you can see oil fields are there. Yes, petroleum, natural gas can be extracted from this, right? Okay, these are the sedimentary rocks, impermeable rocks, all these are the layers. We are going to study in the higher classes, but here we are concerning all about the oil fields and natural gas we are getting from there. Okay, so petroleum, how it look like? Again, I'll tell you, it's a very dark oily liquid. Okay, and it gives a very unpleasant smell or odor, I can say, which is not bearable, right? So it's really unbearable. Okay, it's a very dark oily liquid. This is how we get petroleum and natural gases. Okay, refining. Now we are going to do the refining of petroleum by fractional distillation. Let's talk about this topic, that is, we are refining the petroleum. This is not only the only one product, but it is made up of many components. Like petroleum is made up of many components, like that can be separated out. That is called refining. Okay, and which process is involved in the refining of petroleum? That is fractional distillation. So fractional distillation is the process through which the petroleum can be taken out. Okay, let's see that what is the fractional distillation process which is involved in refining the petroleum. Okay, so I'm going to start all about the refining of petroleum. So it is actually the process with the fractional distillation related somewhat. Okay, so how it is a fractional distillation process means, what is it, right? You don't know even that. So okay, let's talk about the fractional distillation first. So it is the process through which the separation of different components can be possible, right? By boiling according to their boiling points. Like every content is having a different boiling points. So fractions are there. So petroleum can be taken out. They are having a different boiling points. Like जो भी fractions are there in the petroleum, they are having a different sections and different boiling points that can be taken out. Okay, so the boiling point can diffuse them very easily and differentiate them very easily. Okay, so wherever, on whatever temperature it is making at the gas, you can take it out. You have to remember the temperatures also in the higher level. You have to remember the levels also, at what level which product we are getting. So from liquids the gases are formed. So this was the process through which the petroleum can be taken out. So we are taking the crude oil and we are applying it in the fractional distillation furnace, and then at the different boiling points we can fractionate it and we can take it out. Let's see the figure. Now you can see this furnace. In this furnace, I have added the crude oil. The oil is heated in a furnace. You can see fuel oil, diesel, kerosene, petrol, butane and propane also. So all these boiling points are having different temperatures we are getting out. Okay. So let's see it again. Crude oil is heated in the furnace. See, in this furnace, petroleum was added, then heat it up. Yes, and approximately around 400 degrees Celsius. I'll show you again. Okay, again on the 400 degrees Celsius. Now crude oil is heated at 400 degrees Celsius. After that we are heating it up. We are getting it 400 degrees Celsius, and after that we are getting 370 degrees Celsius. As the temperature levels decreases, we'll get the fuel oil, right? After that the temperature again decreases, so 300 and then 200. At different temperature, different components can be seen. At the kerosene is available at 200 degrees Celsius, and then petroleum is added over there, and butane and propane we are getting at 20 degrees Celsius. So you can check it out with this temperature. At different temperature, different components we are getting. On the top level, we are getting butane and propane, of course. One after another with the certain temperatures, we can differentiate with this furnace by heating them up. Yes, under the pressure we are taking, and of course with the regular temperature, we can obtain the fractionals. Okay, so now let's see the components what we are getting it from. The components we are obtaining: paraffin wax, bitumen, and it was gone that petroleum gas, petrol, kerosene. All these are the components that we are getting it from, right? So first we are having the petroleum gas. It is used as a fuel in industries and homes, and it was used at the home household purposes, right? So it is used at home. So when we are burning it, we are getting it energy, right? So it is the fuel. That means, in another word, that is energy. Next we are having petrol. So it is used for the motor fuels, and it is used for dry cleaning purposes also. We know for the vehicles, but second use also we can write it out. That's dry cleaning. Next is kerosene. Kerosenes we are using for stoves, lamps. Nowadays it was not, but still the kerosene is having its own uses. So lubricating oil, name on itself telling us that it is used to lubricate the things, like it is used for lubrication processes in the machineries. Okay, it gives the friction, it less the friction, right? You come to study in the friction chapter also. It decreases the friction. When you are bringing the smoothness in the vehicles, you can use this lubricating oil. You can use it up. Okay, it decreases the friction beta. Okay, next we are having paraffin wax. It is also used for making the ointment, candles and vaselines. It look like white in color, you can see, and it is very useful for many purposes. Okay, bitumen, it is how bitumen is look like. You can see in the figure. These all are the components which we are getting from the crude oil, right? That is, so it is used for paint and road surfacing. Bitumen is widely used. Okay, another component, that is diesel. It is again one more fuel for the vehicles, for cars, trucks and many vehicles. Okay, so diesel is also used as a fuel. That is also obtained, we are getting it from petroleum. Okay, I can say it's a byproduct. Now we are having energy and environment, last topic. So energy we are getting, right? And we need it. then only we can work, right? Same with the vehicles also, same with the machines also. If they are not getting energy, how they are going to work? So still the environment is affecting. So many industries are there that increases the rate. So on this modern era, many industries are being increased. Industrialization is going on at a very fast rate. So many luxuries we are taking a place. So all need what? It need a lot of energy to run all these processes, all these equipments. So for these luxurious items, every person need a luxury thing, right? So they all need energy. How they move on, how cars will move on, how fan ACs will work on. Without the energy, it is not going to happen. So all this is affecting one by the environment. Like we need more hydro, we need more coal, we need more fossil fuels. Somewhere, somehow, it was affecting the environment. These smoke is also affecting the environment, right? So it affect our environment, it's polluting our environment, because for getting more energy, more coal is burned, more fossil fuels are burned, right? So for entertainment facilities we are talking about, that is again a very big demand nowadays. I think everything was online nowadays, so internet facilities on laptops, phone, everything we are working on it. So it all need energy. From where this light, where energy is coming from, where these cells are coming from, everything everywhere is coal, granite, carbon, everything was used. Where these carbon energies, graphites, is coming it from? All from the environment. So if you are taking it out from the environment, one day it will be finished, and from where, somewhere it was affecting. It's a very hazardous effect. So utilize the energy, don't waste the energy. Use that energy up to some level. Like if you're not watching the televisions and all, just make them off. If you're not using the laptops, turn it off. So let us see this insect spray. So we are using for the pesticides, insecticide we have studied earlier also to kill the pest. See these pesticides I'm talking about. So many fertilizers we are talking about. How they are formed? So the agriculture need this, na? How it is formed? Everything is made from the industries only. If we are demanding more, it is affecting our environment, because if industries requirement is more, if we our requirement is more, industries are making it more. If industries are making it more, definitely it affects directly indirectly our environment. Okay, some natural resources are limited, beta. So some are renewable and some are non-renewable. So natural resources which are limited in quantity, they are exhaustible, we have studied all about. Some are fossil fuel, that we have studied. One more I am going to study, non-renewable resources, that is forest. Okay. So we should use them wisely and timely. Okay, whenever it was required. So all these are non-renewable. Yes. So these are fossil fuels, minerals, forests. You can see them also in the figure. We have studied all about fossil fuel. I think it was quite in detail. So we are using these for different purposes. So these all are exhaustible, right? I've written these forests all are exhaustible. They take a very long time to build up the forest. If somebody says the forest will build up in a few years, it's not possible. It take a million of years, or after that a bed was formed under that forest, it again take a long time. So now we also know that fossil fuels like coal and petroleum, that requires millions of years. So you know that these fossil fuels can work for 100 years hardly, right? Hardly work for. And after these 100 years, what will happen? All these fuels are going to be burned. What will happen for the future generation? But all these fuels, what we are burning, create air pollution also, right? So we should, the all are exhaustible, and we can use them very wisely and widely. So these are linked with the global warming also. So CO2 is formed in our air in a lot quantity. When these fossil fuels are burned, lot of CO2 is coming out, lot of air is coming out, right? So this CO2 gas that is giving out the infrared rays that they will trap. The sunlight is giving infrared rays that was trapped by the CO2, and because they produce the heating effect. Okay, again I'll tell you, this is sun, the light we are getting it, all the rays we are getting, that is called infrared rays. These infrared rays give the heating effect. Okay, and these rays CO2 get trapped these airs, and if CO2 is there in the atmosphere, what will happen? These rays will be affected a lot. Like suppose this is a one molecule, lot of infrared rays were entrapped inside it. So lot of energy is not coming out over here on our earth. Infrared rays नहीं आ रही हैं, तो energy is not coming, right? So what will happen then? So the temperature should be whatever the temperature should be there, what will happen? It will increases the radiations. रेडिएशंस इंक्रीज होगा, बहुत सारी हीट होगी, क्योंकि एक मॉलिक्यूल में जब बहुत सारी एनर्जी ट्रैप्ड हो गई है तो डायरेक्ट सनलाइट ना आके इट विल इंक्रीजिंग दैट इफेक्ट, और हीटिंग इफेक्ट इंक्रीज होगा, और हीटिंग इफेक्ट इंक्रीज होने की वजह से व्हाट विल हैपन, द एनवायरनमेंट वाज फेसिंग मैनी काइंड ऑफ प्रॉब्लम, ग्लोबल वार्मिंग इंक्रीज होगी. अगर CO2 इंक्रीज होती है तो डेफिनेटली द ओशन लेवल विल इंक्रीज एंड द ग्लोबल वार्मिंग सिचुएशन विल बिकम अ क्राइसिस वंस अगेन. So we can see this, we have started this. Okay, if once they were finished, it's take long time to exhaust, I'm repeating again and again, they should be preserved, they should be take it not for granted, because future generation also need these fossil fuels, right? So we should use them carefully for the better balance of environment and human activities, right? So let's take some trips, drive a constant and a moderate speed as far as possible, because it saves the time as well as energy. Energy हम बात कर रहे हैं all about coal and petroleum. Of course, switch off the engines and traffic lights, or at a place where you don't have to wait, right? So if you are waiting somewhere, you have to wait somewhere, then switch off your vehicles and don't use them. Just turn it off. It will have 2 seconds, 3 seconds, and every person 2 seconds, 3 seconds, they are going to save the petrol. Definitely a lot of time as well as energy can be saved by this process. Okay, next I like to tell you a few more assumptions you can do with your own also. You can tell me also in the class that these are the methods where we can save the energy as well as fuels. Of course, ensure that the correct tire pressure should be maintained so that it saves the friction level, so that the coal will be reduced very less, because we all know that the road which is made, that is also one of the product of petroleum, and petroleum is again a fossil fuel. So ensure the regular maintenance of the vehicle so that it will not take more fuel. Okay, so this is again a very important point. Now one question arises, describe how coal is formed from dead vegetation. What is this process called? It's very important question. After winding this up, let me take this one question. I'll finish it off on this question. About 300 million years ago, the earth has dense forest in low-lying wetland areas. Due to various natural processes like floods and earthquakes, these forests got buried under the soil. That's why these fossil fuels are formed, these coal has formed. But again, forests are no more, deforests are no more, so no more fossil fuel is going to be formed for future generation, because we have cut it for the industrial purpose, all the forest, and for our residency also. So no more forest, no more fuels, so we have to save them. Nothing else was left for future generation. Okay, so again, You can cover this up with the carbonization method also. It's again a very good question. What is carbonization? The soil deposit layer by layer. Over them, they were compressed under high temperature and pressure, and the plants got converted to coal slowly. This process is called carbonization. Remember this question. If it is there in your books, that's too good. If it is not, you can learn from here what is carbonization. I'll repeat it again. Under the high pressure and temperature, when coal was converted slowly and slowly, that process is called carbonization. और seabed में जो form होता है, that is called petroleum. I think both the topics was quite clear to you. Okay. So one more question, explain the process of formation of petroleum. I told you under the seabed. Let us study it in with 2-3 lines. Petroleum is formed from organisms living in the sea. And as the organism died, their bodies settled at the bottom of the sea, and these bodies got converted with the layers of sand and clay, and that was embedded inside the seabed where they formed the petroleum products. Okay. So over the millions of years, in the absence of air, don't forget to add this, in the absence of air, under high temperature and pressure, they are converted into petroleum and natural gases. Wherever the petroleum is there, the natural gases will be beside it. Okay. So this is all about. So one more question arises. What are natural resources? Explain with example. The resources provided by nature or obtained from the nature is called natural resources, such as air, water, soil and sunlight. Okay. This is a question you have to remember. I think it was quite understood by you. Explain why fossil fuels are exhaustible natural resources. There are few important questions from this topic. Fossil fuels are present in limited quantity in the nature. They can be exhausted by human activities. So fossil fuels are also called exhaustible natural resources. So they can be exhausted, they can be finished. So they are called fossil fuels. Okay, so I think I have completed with this chapter. Read these questions again. They all are the wind up of this my whole content. Till then, thank you. Stay safe. Stay home. Take care.